Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. The EU just had a special summit about oil sanctions or the stop or the restriction of oil imports from Russia to the EU. Of course, it was not just the European Council and the European Commission, it was first and foremost the heads of the member states that convened at Brussels yesterday in order to negotiate how to proceed with respect to Russian imports. The goal is, of course, to weaken Russia to avoid filling the Russian war chest with European money. And the EU is, of course, convinced that the best way of doing that is to just cut off, to stop all oil imports, also gas, from Russia. Now, of course, a lot of people were very critical and they thought that there wouldn't be an outcome of this meeting. They couldn't declare any meaningful result in the end. And of course, one has to admit that in the typical EU fashion, what they declared in the end is very vague and there are a lot of backdoors still open in order to pivot out of that position that they declared right now later on. But that being said, a little bit before midnight yesterday, they declared that they would stop all Russian oil imports into the EU by sea. That means by oil tanker. And that is about 2/3 of all oil imports from Russia to the EU. This stop should take effect immediately, as I understood it at least. So in today's presentation, I want to talk a little bit about the details here and also what is going on with Poland and Germany and the other ways aside of oil tanker by sea that we get oil from Russia and what they said about this. And also towards the end, I want to give you my opinion and my perspective on whether or not that will quote unquote work and what that will mean for the European Union and the member countries and especially for the working class people there. But before we get into that, I want to thank my supporters and my subscribers once more. Like, share and subscribe and let me know down in the comment section below what you think about that. Make sure to check me out on other social media websites. Also, links are in the descriptions down below. And if you want to, you can support me via Patreon or Subscribestar. Alright, so as you can imagine, this is a compromise and that means that some countries wanted to do more and some countries wanted to do less, but as I understood it, there was only one head of state, only one country that complained and called these measures completely unreasonable and irresponsible, and that is of course Hungary. Viktor Orban from Hungary had to say this about this compromise. He criticized it heavily and there are also exceptions for his country, of course, but not only for his country. As you might know, oil tanker, the sea route, is not the only way that the EU gets oil from Russia. Then another big chunk of oil imports from Russia comes by the Druzhba pipeline, which means friendship, so the friendship pipeline. And this pipeline or pipeline system has terminals in Hungary, in Slovakia, in the Czech Republic, and also in Germany and Poland. Now, if I understood that compromise correctly, then Germany and Poland said that they will not be importing any oil anymore from this pipeline until the end of this year. So by 2023, no more oil for Germany and Poland. But they said that this pipeline should still transport oil from Russia to Slovakia, the Czech Republic, and Hungary. Hungary even went so far as to say that when this pipeline should be damaged in Ukraine during this military operation, then they want to be able to import Russian oil again by tanker, by sea. So these were the securities that Viktor Orban wanted for Hungary in this summit. And I also read that the Czech Republic is kind of pissed at Poland because they said earlier that they would deliver coal to the Czech Republic as a substitute for Russian energy imports, and that now is unclear. So once again, the different European Union member states are not really trusting each other in some instances, and now they try to act as if it is all some unified front, and just Viktor Orban, of course, is the troublemaker that disturbs the peace in the harmonious union of European nations in this European family, but that is not at all the case, as you can easily imagine, because what is at stake here is, of course, our wealth, our economy, our standard of living, having a heated home during the winter month, and all these things, having a job, employment. The entire industry could collapse over that, but the goal is, of course, or what they claim to be their goal is that they want these measures to hurt Russia more than it hurts us. Of course, everyone admits that this will hurt both sides, but they think that Russia's war chest will be diminished by these sanctions in a drastic way, and our economies can weather this storm, or they can make up for this somehow. Oh, what do I read here? How surprising. The International Energy Agency is warning that diesel, kerosene, and gasoline could experience a drastic shortage during the summer. I wonder how this is related to all that. They say that this energy crisis could be even more severe, much more severe than the oil price shock in the 1970s that were caused by the revolution in Iran. So anybody who still remembers those days knows how severe this is and how it affects our economies and our industry here. Bear in mind also that France has already experienced energy riots. Yes, the Yellow Vest movement was started by rising fuel prices. And I would say that in light of these recent sanctions now, we have seen nothing yet in Europe when it comes to energy prices. So the question is always, is this all fake? Is this really going to happen? Or is that just the European Union producing a lot of hot air? And then in the end, the Russians will just pump their oil into some Greek tanker, and then it's not Russian oil anymore, or they will mix it with some other oil and then it's not purely Russian oil, and they will find some kind of backdoor, they will find some loophole in order to still get Russian oil, but they had their nice pictures and their nice declaration for the evening news. I mean, that is one possibility, but I would not underestimate the true believers, the Green Party, climate, religion, hardcore ideologues. It is their goal to make energy way more expensive in the developed nations, in Europe, in the EU, especially in Germany. They want to basically shut down all our industry jobs. They want to artificially create some kind of energy scarcity, and thereby they think they save the planet, and I think that is just also a pretense. I think what they really want to do is they want to destroy our way of life, our civilization. My personal opinion is that they are just losers who are sore losers, and they want to collapse the system because they're not the winners, and they think that if everyone loses, then they gain relatively. In my experience, that is at least the psychological or the deep motivation for these individuals. Now, there might be other organizations behind that, but these foot soldiers, these true believers, that is their personal motivation in my experience. They are losers, and they don't want to accept that other people made something out of themselves or do something useful, and therefore can also enjoy some material wealth and well-being. But maybe I formulate these thoughts in a dedicated video in a better and more complete way. I think this goes beyond the scope of this video. Alright, so to sum up, 60% of Russian oil imports into the EU should cease pretty much immediately. Those are the ones that are coming here by sea, and the Friendship Pipeline should still be accessible for the Czech Republic, for Slovakia and Hungary. Poland and Germany said they would stop using oil from that pipeline by the end of the year. But one last comment I want to make, this all assumes that the Russians are just like a supermarket where you can buy what you want to buy and you can just leave in the shelf what you don't want. This assumes that the Russians are fine with still delivering oil to Slovakia and the Czech Republic and Hungary, for example. What if they don't agree with that? What if they say, hey, you think we're evil, you want to hurt us, you don't want our oil? Well, now you don't get any of our oil anymore. And then Slovakia and the Czech Republic would would have a huge problem. So I just wanted to add that this is the assumption here, and it is a big assumption. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. Enjoy the rest of your day. Servus, Kameraden.